because that's who approached him when he came from Chicago. Like, you gonna be with them or you gonna be with us?
That's it. Already.
So, and then he was, our color's red and black. So, for sure, that was the brim. Melvin Farmer even said that. Y'all didn't hear when I asked him? I was like, wait, hold on. You said there were no gangs when you started in 69. It wasn't no other gangs. It was just crews. What about the brim? He was like, oh, they been there. They was already there.
Yeah.
You feel me? To where it was like a state. But the big homies, all of them, I didn't even know that was even a question.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, you had all of these other hoods, Bishops, you had Chain Gang, you had all of these other hoods, Hoover Park families, right? But none of them was pushing the blood issue, especially on the west side where the Crips really took off. The east side Crips wasn't that big, Alex. If you look at it, it didn't take off like that till Raymond moved to the west side. Clicked up with Tookie and the mother dudes, and that shit just took off. It was like, probably because...
Monkey Man and all them dudes, like.
So it's safe to say that the LA Brims was first blood set.
First blood. That's how I got it. That's what Elgin said. I don't know. And he was around. So.
Well, my question's different than that. Of course, the Brims was out, but at the same time the Brims was out, the Van Ness boys were out, the Outlaws were out, the Pyru boys was out. So my question is, who's the first set to put blood on their name?
Oh, well, the Brims didn't never put blood on their name. The only Brims that started, the only Brims that started putting blood on their name first, at one point, the Van Ness Gangsters started saying that they was Bloods, right? Then, whereas Van Ness Gangster Blood and not Van Ness Gangster Brim. Then the Black Peace Stones, once they separated their cliques, because they started in the city. The City Stones started saying City Stone Blood, right? Jungle Stone Blood. And Bot, rest in peace, started the JSB. Like, he was the first one separating it from the Muslim Black Stones and the Jamaicans and what was going on in the jungles at that time. But as far as the first one to put it on there, I'm thinking it probably would have been the BSV. It had to be the BSV. In fact, they put it the B first.
The Bloodstone Villain.
Before they put the B first.
They got their name from a music group too.
Yeah, so when it comes to the BSVs, when you say Bloodstone Villain, the Blood in Bloodstone Villain was a name they were using, which meant a different blood than the blood we mean today.
Yeah, that's what I got. Like.
So it's really hard to pinpoint.
Oh, my bad, Alex, not to cut you off. So they were saying like,
I'll just say it's really hard to pinpoint. Like when I say blood, I mean blood gang banging blood, like Harvard Park blood, like Bloodstone Villain meaning blood gang banging, or Black Peace Stone Blood Nation, that blood. It's hard to pinpoint the origin of that blood. Of course, Brims was out. Denver Lanes was out. Outlaws was out. They were all out before they put the B on it, before they put the blood on it.
Right. What's the name?
When the Denver Lane boys become Denver Lane Bloods.
Lane Bloods, yeah. Like AC Bobby Louie said.
Become Outlaw Bloods. You know, that's the question that's harder to answer.
Right. AC Bobby Louie said that he don't know nothing before 73, 74 far as the blood call.
Oh yeah, well he can't give us too much then, because you missing 5 years. That's a whole nother generation.
And then they had an interview saying that the police put bloods on a lot of neighborhoods too. Like far as like the separation from the Crips. So when they start saying anti-Crips, they start saying blood. It was in the news article. But you got different homies like what's the homie name? He live in Arizona now. Damn, I can't think of his name. He an OG blood homie though. He was like he been blooding since 72. So, but AC Bobby Louie, was in contradiction with that, because he said when he went to YA, that shit started in the jail first. But homie was like, nah, we were doing that shit on the street, so you got to understand.
Who said that?
He said what?
Said that it started in jail.
Baba Louie said that the first people that was on the rags was the homies that was locked up. But the homie was detesting that. But he was detesting that. He was detesting that and saying like, nah, there was bloods on the street too, cause whoever, I can't think of the homie name, but he related to Elgin. And he was like, nah, we been pushing this blood shit. Like, you were locked up, so that's your story, cause you were locked up, but we got shit that was actually out on the street. Like homies that was out on the street pushing the blood card. Right, go back on Tell Matt videos and you can, it's interviews up there when the homies talking about it.
Well, all I know is this, right? The homies, the G homies, and you can get into the Tony Lucius, the Angels. These is niggas at 69, 70 right now. Like even older than my pop. Generation before them. So when I talk to them, they always say that the Brims was the first blood. Right? When I talk to Big Wolf from Westside Paru, who's also 70 right now, right? He say the Brims founded blood. So and that's as old as I could get, period, from the horse's mouth, out of the Brims in the Westside Paru, who are credited for formulating. You know what I'm saying? So
I always got it that Brims started bloods, period.
Let me say this. I think the history is that there was a group of guys from different neighborhoods that started blood together. That it wasn't just one hood that started blood. It had to be 3 or 4 hoods came together and said, we about to be bloods. It couldn't just been one hood that started the whole movement. Because remember, they were all anti-Crips. They were all fighting against the Crips.
Right. But think about this.
It had to be a collection of at least 2 or 3 or 4 hoods and saying, you know what? We about to push blood.
Think about this. Well, for sure, I know it was Westside Paru and the Brims, right? But think about this, and we not talking about in Compton, we talking about in L.A. Westside Crips is the biggest thing going up under Tookie and them after this. They didn't change the whole game, right? The only gangs that was unified at that time that had the numbers to make such a drastic change would have been the different Brim set. Because you got all the way from Jefferson to Florence at that time. 71. There were the other gangs that was around at that time died out.
And
what are you talking about?
Aliso Village too, right?
And Aliso Village. East LA. So the only gangs that was big enough at that time to make such a drastic change would have been the Brims, and then in Compton, the Paru.
Okay, let me add this. When you watch my Judson Baycott interview, when the Westside Crips was doing all their dirt, who was the first set to do a shooting against the Westside Crips?
Brim.
It was the guys from Inglewood.
Which set from Inglewood?
It was the Chain Gang, which eventually became Inglewood
Family.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is 1970. I think Judson Baycott said they started shooting at them. And see, they went to prison in 72. So in 71, the Chain Gang was over there shooting them up, a.k.a. the Inglewood family.
But you got to understand this too, right? And in those times, they weren't just shooting them up. That might have been one incident. The zip gun. Them dudes wasn't shooting in them early days. They go fight. They'll pull up at Dinka Park and fight against the Godfather.
No, you're absolutely right. But Judson said that the Chain Gang changed the game. They're the first ones to actually start shooting when everyone was fighting. Go watch that interview I did with Judson Baycott.
I'm not down. I'm not even down that. But that don't mean that they're the ones that unified. That just means that they escalated. Because by that time, you got to think all of those local gangs that were already old were already fighting against and because a lot of them dudes was in the one-on-one fight. That's how you earned your name. When the Crips came, it wasn't no more of that, right? We jumping your ass. You couldn't rob blacks, right? They robbing blacks. It was a whole different move. There 100 motherfuckers moving and they press. You know what I'm saying? And they beat up your little brother. You gangbang, but your brother don't even gangbang. They rob your little brother. Now you going back and y'all fighting against these dudes. So that was happening throughout the city, period. So for that, and it was mostly, well, we going back, we going to go fight these Crips because they did this, or it was different situations. But one that my big homies told me, and rest in peace to the big homie DJ, David Johnson, do some research on him, right? He's also one of the ones attributed to being one of the founders of the Fruittown Brims, right? And one of the first Bloods that was killed by the hands of Crip B, right? His cousin was Puddin', and that's one of the reasons that the LA Brims that was in the 40s and the 30s at the time say Fruittown Brim or Orchard Gangsta Brim or whichever ones was within that vicinity at the time, because of DJ's relationship with Puddin' in them early stages of fighting against the Crips. They were unified.
Hey, Stress, what's up, my nigga? What's up, Lamonte?
What's going on, Trey? What's going on, man?
What's up, bud? What's happening?
I was just kicking back, man, get some history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nigga, I'm back to work, man. This shit been kicking my ass, man. First week back.
Get your money, man. Get your money, man.
What's up, Alex?
Good afternoon. I'm trying to look something up real quick.
Yo, so I hit you in the back channel. Check your back channel.
When there's a big meeting that T told me about before he passed. That I guess the Blackstones and there was a few other hoods that had this big meeting. What happened at that meeting and what year was that?
Yeah, I heard about that meeting. That meeting would have took place after 1972, before 1975, somewhere in there.
So that was after the fact then, right?
Well, I believe that Little Country's murder inspired the meeting. So Country was killed in 72.
Gotcha. T's born day today. We just had a big meeting. I run the self class still. I took it over after he changed forms and whatnot. But everybody just been kind of acknowledging that today as well too. But yeah. Go ahead.
Is that part of Sidewalk University?
Yeah, I guess it started at Sidewalk University and then evolved into the self class, and he just started using the self class name after, but it is a division of the Sidewalk University for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm the only person to ever sit T. Rogers down and do like a 1-hour interview with him, because he didn't give too many interviews.
Yeah, he said he
Don't do that.
feeling that.
Man, Alex, you trust me, they probably really didn't want to interview T. Rogers, because when he go, he just go, man. I'm talking about for hours.
Yeah, we were, my sister-in-law is a film producer. So, we were talking to him, and he started off wanting to do like a documentary about his life and stuff, and then it evolved into wanting to do like a series or whatnot, and we were working on that, getting all the outline and everything together, and we don't talk no more. I'm like, oh, okay. So,
Alex, give us some insight on the colors. Give us some insight on that.
Man, I'd have to go into my notes, but I took extensive handwritten notes on the whole history of colors, and I don't want to talk too much about it because me and Bone are supposed to do we're going to do a podcast on the whole history of how that movie came about, because Bone is also kind of got a history to the movie Colors also.
Talking about Bone from Athens, right?
Yeah, Bone from Athens.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Bone said he was from both. He was from the he was from the jungles and APB.
Well,
yeah,
he is.
We started recording some episodes about the movie Colors.
They real tight like that though, fam.
Hey, Alex, next time when they question and say where the blood started, ask why the Anthons, the Blackstones, why all of them throw up brim. Just remember that. You hear me?
Right.
Yeah, all the technically all the Bloods on the west side are brims except for one set. Which set is that?
Was two set because the 20s never were brims
It was like
and
Hoover families, right?
Denver Lanes.
And then, two sets. It would be the Denver Lanes, right?
Denver Lanes.
Denver Lanes in the 20s.
Denver Lanes in the 20s are the only sets that are not brims.
Right.
Because
On the west side,
originally,
South Central.
all the West Side Bloods were supposed to be brims.
Right.
That's how strong that brim car was.
Alice, did you know a Bad Habit Rabbit? Did you ever come in contact with him?
Not personally, nope. But the 20s were supposed to be brims. Some of the OGs from 20s told me about how they stayed the way they stayed.
Who did you talk to from 20?
There's a guy named OG Skip that told
Skip
Red. OG Red is the one that really got the history.
But Skip on Clubhouse.
But the history comes from OG Skip, not Skip Townsend. There's another Skip.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the other Skip, but I can tell you this about that just to ask, so you do know this, right? The Hoover Park family started the Rolling 20s. One of the founders of Rolling 20s and who was a Hoover Park family, who was before being a Hoover Park family, was an L.A. Brim, is Big Strawberry. He got it tatted on his back.
I know Strawberry with the freckles.
Yeah, I know Strawberry and Tammy, all of them. Like, he told me that's
yeah,
when I was still like probably like
history.
6 years old.
And OG Red have the. Now I asked T. Rogers. It should be on the interview. I asked him about when they went to the 20s and tried to get them to be Blackstone brims, and T. Rogers' answer was, I don't really want to go into any detail about that.
Yeah, when I was over
I can get Carolyn to come in. She from the 20s. She a G-home girl. She probably can give us some insight on that.
You talking about Big Bubbles?
Yeah, Big Bubbles.
Right, that's a big.
But I don't think Bubbles is that age, bro. Bubbles is a G-home girl, but I think Bubbles is like the same age as Big Grits, which they probably like 7 years older than me, so probably 50 right now. So
yeah, they're in their early 50s.
Bubbles said she was like 57, 58.
Is that right?
No, I don't think she's not that old. I don't think she's that old.
Let me ping her in. We can find out. We can ping her in.
Yeah, ping her in.
Hey, Lamonte, wouldn't Strawberry be about 60 right now?
No, Strawberry about 61. His kids is from 20, all of them, right? Stoney, all them little niggas, right? And then his other family, they related to Big Tay-B, Tayon, and all of her brothers and sisters, which was 17. They got 17 brothers and sisters who lived on Jefferson and Walton babies, So that was the WB. But and they all related, but they related to Big Jimbo too. In fact, Strawberry wife is Tammy Chambers, who is Jimbo's sister. So, but yeah, man, that shit is hella deep. But I know for a fact that he was a L.A. Brim who and a founder of Hoover Park family and a founder of the Rolling 20s. And I learned that shit when I was still a teenager, And
then, the whole area from Hoover Park all the way down to Manual Arts was all brims, where the 40s is at now.
Right.
And
Dark Side 40s.
Yeah, where the Dark Side 40s is at now. That was
Fruit
all
Town
brim.
40s back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up with y'all niggas, man?
Yeah, man, I got that the same too. also the Millers was real integral in lacing me up with the history because they really used to be arguing with all of the big homies in their catnip. You know what I'm saying? Like that's who could give you probably the best though. Alex, he got like 300 years in the state pen, but Big Catnip, he could definitely do it, and he was real instrumental in all of that in the 40 Foodtown Realm, the Orchard. And
where's he at now? Where's Big Catnip at?
He in the state. I think he in Donovan. He'll call me back. He called me last week. When he called me back, I'm gonna see exactly which pen he at now. He just transferred about a couple weeks ago.
Oh, Popeye right here. Let me get Popeye up.
Hey, Little Country was 17 years old. He died on June 5th, 1972.
Yeah, she told me that. She said it was 17 going on 18. That's what she told me.
Yeah.
Alex. Hey, what's going on, Alex?
What's up, y'all?
This Trey. My PTR right now, you probably see me. I'm in the Pueblos. You know what I'm saying? I'm from New York, though. You know what I'm saying? I stayed in the Pueblos. And can you recount any? I see you did the interview with the twins from the Pueblos before they became Damu. Can you bring a little history about that?
Well, you know, the Pueblos is one of those sets that existed when it was when the Slausons and the businessmen and all of them was active. So if you want to say one of the oldest hoods in LA, it's the Pueblos and the Outlaws. The Outlaws and the Pueblos, they go back to the 1950s. So that's some old. Now, I'm not saying they're the first Bloods, but they definitely, their hood has been around going all the way back to the days of the Slausons and the businessmen.
So let me ask you another question. Do you Termite from the Pueblos? Termite from the Pueblos.
Oh, the dude I interviewed?
No, Termite. He's down. He's been down for a while. But you heard about Termite from the Pueblos, or you interview anybody that talked about Termite from the Pueblos?
No, I have not. I just interviewed. Okay, I interviewed the twins, the OG twins. They were Pueblos before they put the B on it. And then I interviewed Stutterbox. Now, Stutterbox is from that first generation that put the B on it, which would have been like 75, 76, 77, right around there. And then I interviewed another brother from the Pueblos. I forgot his name. And then I did an interview with a dude from the Pueblo Players that I never posted before they was Bloods. They were just Pueblos. The Pueblos went through many different transitions. There was the Players transition.
Mid-City too, right? Mid-City?
Mid-City is when they started. That's when they started really gang banging.
That's Stutterbox shit. Stutterbox started the Mid-City.
Yeah, that's the 75, 76?
75.
Yeah, 75. I say it.
Popeye probably could.
Hold up, no, y'all wrong. Mid-City Gangster started in 1982. I was with Stutterbox when he started. He got whooped on when he first started claiming Mid-City Gangster because Mid-City Gangster was 56th Street West Side.
Yeah.
Mid-City Gangster was Crips first.
Mid-City
When Stutterbox brought it to the East Side, you know, Stutterbox got whooped on by Big J killing them, whooped on Stutterbox because they told him there wasn't going to be no MCG in the Pueblos because that's a Crip neighborhood. 1982, they accepted it. I was right there when they accepted it. So it wasn't 70, it was 1982. Ask Stutterbox, he'll tell you.
No, you're right. But they started blooding around 75, 76. And then
they weren't bishops. They weren't bishops. They were just Pueblo. They was Pueblo Bloods. Dr. Dirt brung Pueblo Bishop. Rest in peace, Dr. Dirt, rest in peace. It's when they started calling themselves bishops. The original, it was Dr. Dirt, and it was another homie from 9 Deuce Bishop came over and started Pueblo because 9 Deuce Bishop was out before Pueblo Bishop.
Correct. Wouldn't that have been Bobby Lavender?
That was Bobby Lavender. That was Ryder Mike. You know what I'm saying? And that was, yeah.
Hey, Papa. What's good, beloved? It's this Trey. What's going on, beloved? How you doing? How you feeling?
What do, Trey? I was trying to find Big Time, your homie Big Time, because he on this app now. And I was trying to find Big Time so I can ping him in the room and he would give you more history.
Hey, Papa, I got one name to throw up. Weedamac.
What about him?
Weedamac. How far do you go with Weedamac?
I know of him. We never spent time in the same area together. I know what you're talking about, though.
Okay. Like you said, Big J Killer. I met Big J Killer personally. I know his son, Lil J Killer. Stutterbox. I know Stutterbox's sister, his sons, the twins I met personally. The twins. And they actually took me to the house. You know
what it is, when I was growing up, it was we had crews that we used to fuck. Like I say, Villain and Pueblos was together when I was out there. We had crews. And like I say, part of our crew was Big J Killer, Too Hard, Stutterbox, Dirty 8, you know what I'm saying? Big Lonely Man. It was only one Lonely Man, Big Lonely Man. See, all them cats come from my generation. You know what I'm saying? Everybody under that, when I was on the streets, they wasn't even born. So I can't really say about the cats that was around. Because like I said, I've been in penitentiary for 36 years. So a lot of them cats, I don't know nothing about them because they wasn't born.
Is it safe to me to say Big Buggo? Big Buggo was around your era, or Timothy Mackey?
Who?
Buggo and Timothy Mackey.
Yep, Timothy Mackey was around there, but he wasn't part of our crew. He wasn't part of our crew. I don't like to say that he wasn't down enough to be part of our crew. But like I said, the crew, and Alice can contest to this. Like I say, when you talk to Stutterbox will tell you about the individuals that used to run with us in that time. And like I say, so Timothy, he wasn't. He was, like I say, he was around there, but he couldn't. He couldn't. It wasn't happening.
Let me tell you, when I first went to LA, right? Timothy Mackey, he was the first one that told me about the Pueblos and the Villains was together.
I can get a phone number on Timothy Mackey today. I fucks with him. Like I said, I fuck with him now. I can get in touch with him at any time I want to get in touch with him.
Yeah, I'm in tune. You know I'm in tune with the homeboys. You know that. So, and let me ask you another OG player before he was a Damu, Big Pueblo Steve.
Yeah, I know Pueblo Steve.
So was Pueblo Steve a Damu? I always heard stories. Big Pueblo Steve was a hustler. He wasn't a Damu. They said when a Damu came into the Pueblo projects.
Pueblo Steve was a blood, but he was a hustler. He was about his money, but he was a blood.
Yo, Papa, can you get the big homegirl Bubbles in? Because they want to ask her about some 20 history.
Oh, Bubbles?
Yeah, boy. Oh, you might can contest to it. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if she's available because she's supposed to be heading out to New York. I think this week coming up. Let me see if I can ping her.
That nonprofit thing she said.
Yeah. Let me see if I can ping her. If I can't ping her, I can call her and.
Well, it ain't that important, right? Because she may not even. It ain't that important, right?
I can get her if it's important.
We was trying to figure out basically how did the 20 NHB 20s start from the Hoover Park families without being brims when all of that was brim territory once you get past Hoover Park family on the west side. How did they not end up being brims or part of the brim card exactly?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if I can get her. If y'all want her, I can get her in here.
Yeah, ping her, definitely ping her.
Yeah, let's see if I can ping her real quick.
Check your back channel, Alex.
Yeah, because like I said, I do know she be heading out to New York.